Alright, so here's my little analysis of Michelle Obama's speech for English class. In the first sentence, we see a siblings in sacrifice, service and sacrifice. Then down here, I saw a rule of three where it says, "And everywhere I've gone, and the people I've met, and the stories I've heard." Then in this little excerpt right here, she's using a very unifying tone, also a very personalized tone where like she's talking about her family, our girls right here, my family, uh, tying together the nation in a way, and up here. If we go down here, like where it says, like any mother, I was worried about what it would mean for a girl if he got the chance. Talking about the effect on the presidential family if Barack became president, which he did, of course. Which is kind of saying that she is just a person and she is a mother like any other mother out there. She has worries and concerns for her family and for her daughters. Then down here in line 21, there's a metaphor where it says, "How will we keep them grounded under the glare of the national spotlight?" That's a metaphor. Then here is a rhetorical question or something that ties along the lines of a rhetorical question because it doesn't get answered, but she knows the answer. So and it also might be up for interpretation if you have any of those. If we go down here, there's an anaphora where it says, "I love the life we build," and it says, "I deeply love the man." So there's a little variation here, but still anaphora. And down here it says, "I love Barack just the way he was." Also, another anaphora where it says, "You see," and it says that down here as well. In this little excerpt, she's kind of like building upon Barack's humbleness, like I wrote out here. Also saying this little sentence, which I actually really enjoyed, where it says he was a guy whose proudest possession was a coffee table he had found in a dumpster, and whose only pair of decent shoes were half a size too small. Um, Again, like I said, building upon his humbleness as a person, with a little anecdote in a way, to build up a sense of pathos. Then here, I kind of said that this is a little foreshadowing to what they're gonna tell down here in this anecdote. Because she's talking about how they were, where it says, "You see, Barack and I were both raised by families who didn't have much in the way of money or material possessions, but who had given us something far more valuable." And then she goes on to talking about what was far more valuable. Also, a rule of three here: their unconditional love, their unflinching sacrifice, and the chance to go places they had never imagined for themselves. This little excerpt is very much building upon pathos. It's an anecdote about her life and her upbringing. Not her life, her upbringing, but yeah. And it's very much used to dramatize the situation in a way. Also, getting people to not sympathize, because I feel like that's a wrong word, but something along those lines. I wouldn't use that word because I feel like it's very downgrading in a way to her as a person. But she is using an anecdote, right? Okay. Then down here, she's comparing their two childhoods, where it says, "I realized that even though he'd grown up all the way across the country, he'd been brought up just like me." Also, in a way, saying that, hey, people aren't actually as different as you might think they are. Just because they're born different places, we can still have a lot of things in common and the same values and the same, same values from our childhood that we've been brought up with. Then there's an anecdote about Barack's childhood. She uses a lot of anecdotes in this speech to personalize the speech. Then down here, it goes very patriotic, where it says, "Like so many American families, our families weren't asking for much. They didn't begrudge anyone else's success or care that others had more than they did. In fact, they admired it," which is very much that whole American thing where, hey, everybody's got to fend for themselves. We don't bring others down, but we focus on ourselves, yet help each other. Again, the American dream here. Then there's an alliteration here, dignity and decency. Then there's another anaphora in this excerpt with we learned. We learned here, and we learned here, and there's another one, but yeah. Moving on, there's a rule of 3 where it says so many struggles and triumphs and moments, so that's 3 things. And then here it says, I have seen firsthand that being present doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. In a way, talking about how Barack is a reliable person, because if being present has changed who he is, or revealed who he is, then revealed who he is, then, and she's still standing behind him and supporting him fully, then he must be a reliable person in her eyes. So that's what I kind of got from that. Then in this little sentence where it says, I've seen how the issues that come across the president's desk are always the hard ones. The problems for an amount of data, a number will get you the right answer. I kind of saw it as pushing away logos in a way, and very much appealing to pathos, saying that you need the right ethics and you need the right mentality to be able to solve these problems. Down here, another rule of 3, which he uses a lot in this speech. I'm going to skip some of this because we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with the time. Yeah, here he talks to appeals. Thank you. That's the word. He appeals to the more educated part of the nation, where he's actually talking about the agenda that he's already been through, and there's facts on the table basically. Here, very much Barack cares about people, wants to make life livable. He wants America to be a place where people can stay and have a good life with their families and not worry about their financial aid or healthcare, stuff like that. So that's kind of his political agenda that's coming out there. And then down here, there's another anaphora. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. Yeah, summary, repetition, a lot of this here. Believes in unity, which is also another political agenda thingy that comes into play. Then here, his character, his convictions, and his heart, rule of 3. Again, very much talking about Barack's character in a way, how he's not superficial, and also coming in with another anecdote, pathos, building upon pathos. And then here, there's an enumeration that enumeration here, the concern in his eyes, and I hear the determination in his voice. Yes. Then down here, I kind of thought there was an anti-metabole phrase reversal, where it says, let me see, where it says, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what I said it was, at least. Again, very unifying, rule of 3 here again. And then another enumeration here describing Barack Obama as a person, patient, wisdom, and courage and grace. Assuring light at the end of the tunnel for people if they just work hard. Or yeah, saying that change is hard and change is slow, which is an anaphora, I guess. Or I guess I know. Filling people with hopes and dreams here. American values coming into play. So many of us stand here tonight because of their sacrifice and long and steadfast love. Because time and again they swallowed their fears and doubts and did what was hard. Talking about the previous generations that kind of spread the way out, or how you would say that in good English. Yeah. Another rule of 3 here. Patriotism, a lot of it. Another metaphor, if they could raise beams of steel into the sky, send a man to the moon and to connect the world with the touch of a button. Yes, I'm gonna skip this because I feel like we've already been through a lot of this stuff. But you can see my notes out here if you want to go into it. Then there's a hyperbole here. In this excerpt, the story of unwavering hope grounded in unyielding struggle. So using a lot of adjectives to describe. People are different things to different people, which is here saying that she's not just a first lady, not just a wife, she's mom in chief. Comparison, metaphor. My daughters are still the heart of my heart and the center of my world. A lot of patriotism still. And then associating him with better things down here. Stand together for the man we can trust to keep moving this great country forward. So again, very much talking about Barack, and kind of hiding his political agenda in a way. Um, and then yeah, again the thing about people that people are different things to different people. How it says my husband or President Barack Obama. And then reference to the Bible here. This is not a biblical allusion. I don't think, at least, but correct me if I'm wrong. That's why I said it was just a reference. I kind of just said that she uses a lot of patriotism, American dream, a lot of pathos, and a lot of rule of three for some reason, or yeah, to build up a lot of drama in a way, and then a whole lot of anecdotes to make it personal and in a way hide his political agenda with some of the things that she says about how his mom would struggle to pay the bills when he was young and stuff like that. So in a way that he knows that it's that life is not easy and that everything needs to be worked for, and that's what he's gonna work for as president. So to make life as livable as possible for the people of America. So that's my presentation. Thank you.